It's very interesting. I would love to also hear from you the price of a shortened childhood. Carl Jung once said, "Beware of unearned wisdom." And I feel when you maybe it's also necessary for human development to have our phases, and maybe it's not only a gift to achieve tremendous fortune or fortune, regarding of what you define as fortune
Mhm.
at such an early age. I remember, for instance, I was going to child counseling as well when my father got shot. And I
Mhm.
remember that this was a moment that I can't really put it in practice, but a lot of the things that are important for children were just not of any relevance to me whatsoever. And it shortened
Yeah.
the period in which play was
Yeah, you
interesting
you
to me, you know?
the
The wall
innocence.
changed, the bubble
Yeah.
popped. The bubble
Yeah,
popped. That's how it was for me.
you were robbed of your innocence at that point, right? The ignorance is bliss ended at that moment, and that's kind of it was the
Yeah.
same thing with me where I had no problem being that happy-go-lucky actor just out there living life until that event happened. It was related to the industry I was in, and I had no one to relate to. So then all of a sudden, all of these things in my life that up until that moment were amazing, they became my crutch, basically, right? Or not my crutch, they became my pain, and my burden to carry at that point, which it should have never been that way, and that's why now when I have my friends ask me like, oh, how can I get my kid into acting and stuff, right? One of the first things I tell them is I was like, you need to think deeply and really hard about, is this right for my child? Because they won't be able to make that decision for themselves, and it can easily go a very bad way, you know, because that's what happened to me. We actually met at a comic convention when I think I was there for like X-Men or something. I think it was even before, or was it during no, I think I'd been in Twilight. Anyways, she was a Suicide Girl. I don't know if you know the Suicide Girls at all. I know there's a few from Germany, but they're like like an alternative girl, tattooed girls, that kind of thing, pinup girls, blah blah blah. Well, there was a booth of
We called
Suicide
him
Girls.
we called him emos. Yeah.
Well, yeah, alt girls, emo girls, same thing.
We had like a
Well, not same
Tokyo
thing, I
Hotel
should say,
band
but
that sparked
yeah.
like a whole generation
Oh
of
God.
girls falling in love with like yeah,
But yeah,
it was a trend here.
I but yeah, so we met each other at an event. And it was funny because we instantly kind of hit it off, but her background was actually figure skating. She was a really, really accomplished figure skater growing up, to the point where she worked on like cruise ships and stuff. So even though it wasn't necessarily limelight fame being in movies, she was still a very like compartmentalized child growing up in a very weird world where basically her parents were her coaches, and the opportunities for her to be abused or anything were vast. She was not living with parents, she was living with guardians, just certain things that again we just related because we were just those young children going through something that is sort of that kind of unicorn or unique thing where maybe only 1% or less of the world is ever going to achieve that level, you know? And it's one of those things where it's very rare that you're going to find someone that you can relate to on that level. And luckily we had each other at that time, or I had her, because yeah, I knew her through that period in my life, my 16, 17, 18, 19, when I was really going through that stuff. And even being able to have conversations with her and have her say, well, yeah, that's different, but listen to this. And being, it was like, like she gets it, And so, yeah, like,
I have
it's
to hold
difficult,
hold your talk. I have a big question afterwards. Let's take a
Yeah, you're
small
good.
break for 1 minute and
Yeah.
come back, and I have this question. Okay?
Cameron, welcome back.
Thank you.
For those who don't know, this is recorded with a little time delay because me, in my infinite technical talent, made a mistake at the last interview, and we are recording part of it. So if this is a little bit out of momentum, the blame belongs in my corner of the ballpark, so to say. Yeah, let's move to the next question and to the last part of the interview. I think one of the things fascinating about you is that you have your life, like you've lived so many different lives through your movies. And one of the questions would be like, what advice would you give to a younger version of yourself, and also what version of you?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's always kind of hard, you know. Hindsight is 2020, of course. But no, yeah, I don't know. Kind of the stereotypical, like, just, you know, hang in there. It was more, I'd say it would be more like, you know, kind of 16, 17-year-old me was when I was going through probably the most, you know, mentally and you know, emotionally and all that fun stuff. Um, so yeah, you know, I don't know, just a just friendly reminder to take care of myself and, you know, not kind of worry about the world so much, you know, be a little bit more selfish, I guess, would have been you know, the tip to myself, I guess. Because yeah, especially at that age, you know, I felt, I should say, like I was doing a lot for everyone around me and not necessarily much for myself. So yeah, I'd say that, you know, be a bit more selfish, take care of myself, you know, and just, you know, be happy with myself, you know, because at that point in time, I wasn't necessarily, you know, so yeah, I don't know. Long story short, that'd be about it.
One of the things I find fascinating about you is when you leave the tribe a little bit and you success compounds or resources suddenly find themselves in your lab. I can also imagine lots of people ask you for stuff. Any advice for people who suddenly come to money in regards to or sun or any kind of other resources, how to deal with those situations?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one. It's kind of situational, but yeah, it's, you know, I mean, I'm sure everyone who's had any kind of money will tell you that that's when, you know, again, I would say if you come into money and everything, still just be true to yourself, you know, because it gets easy to, you know, just kind of do shit for other people. Like I remember helping people with money and everything back in the day when I had it. And I never saw that back, you know, I never saw that respect back. I never saw, you know, when I was in time of need, I never once, you know, if anything, the people that I helped when they were in need were the ones who completely ignored me when I was in need, you know. So yeah, again, it would just be just not, I mean, I guess at that point, don't be selfish, but you know, just yeah, you know, watch out for kind of those bad people because that's when, you know, sadly, whenever we gain anything in life that somebody else feels that they need or want, generally they try and get it from you, you know. So just yeah, just be careful and watch out for those people that, you know, are really just trying to use you for, you know, your money or your fame or whatever it is, you know, whatever it is basically that you have that they don't have, right?